I'm going to call this meeting to order, and the first thing we have to do is announce we have an executive session on June 27th to discuss personnel. It looks like it's going to be a short meeting tonight. We'll see. Okay, the first thing is the police report. But no, approve the minutes. It's going to be real short if I keep doing that, John. The first thing we have to do is approve the minutes for the June 20th.
I move that the minutes for June 20th, 2016 are approved as submitted.
I'll second that. Any discussion from the audience? Yes, Maria.
I'd like to request that in the minutes, there's inconsistency in how public comments are being recorded, with some having more detail than others. And I think to be fair, I would like to see either all the information listed that's talked about in public comment or none. But it's giving one person more space in the public comments.
I don't think that's done intentionally. I would imagine that's...
Just like to bring it to your attention.
Wow. I'll tell you what, I understand your comment. I will have to read these with that in mind, and we'll discuss it next meeting, okay?
Okay.
And put some comments.
Or sooner.
There's so many things you can't avoid.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's fine.
I can tell you my reasons.
Okay, go for it.
You want me to tell? Yeah, if you comment to their comment, I think that's important to put in.
But I don't think that it's consistently recorded that way. And all I'm looking for is consistency.
I'll read it. We'll talk about it next meeting.
I'd like some comments.
Any other comments on the passage of the minutes? Seeing none, call for a vote. All those in favor? Aye. The next thing is the police report.
During the month of June, the police department responded to 170 calls for service, including the following: the arrest of a 42-year-old female for DUI after police observed her driving erratically in the 2400 block of Conestoga Road, and the arrest of a 21-year-old male for DUI after he failed to stop at the intersection of Horseshoe Trail and St. Matthews Road, causing a collision. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Any questions on the police report? Moving right along. Next is the bills list. Tonight we're going to look at the bills list. The township bills list is $124,112.12. The reimbursable bills list is $16,984.65. Subdivision utility plant bills list is $11,476.63, for a total bills list to be approved tonight of $152,573.40.
I move that the bills as stated 7/5 with a total amount of $152,573.40 is approved as submitted.
I'll second that. Any comments from the audience?
Bless you.
Who's that back there? Brian!
I'm hiding behind Harry. Question for you. The Apex Computer Corporation, we've got a bill for police computer setup and a new computer, township manager's computer setup. Question, do we have a schedule or a plan for computer equipment replacement? We seem to be having a pattern of replacement, but I'm not sure that we're doing it on a planned or a scheduled basis. And it's not necessarily that they wear out, but they do become obsolete. Do we do this on a needed basis, or do we have a plan that we're working to?
I doubt if we have a plan. It's on a need basis right now. What you may be noticing are some things. We have 2 new police officers on, so you'll see, correct me if I'm wrong, you'll see some Apex invoices plus telephone invoices, and also with Erica, and it's the same thing. But that's a good thing. I agree with you. There's a couple things that are recurring in this bills list that I don't think we have. And it might not change, but I know personally I don't have a good handle on it.
Well, and all I'm doing is suggesting that we, look at what the age of what we've got out there, and then look at, talk to the Apex people and see what they say of, what do you see as we should be replacing these at, or something like that.
They're a vendor.
May I comment?
Sure.
They do have a plan for us,
Okay.
but if they break before that plan,
Okay, okay, well, at least we've got a plan? Good. John, you need to go and keep up. Card member services, what are minute books?
My permanent buying books that I keep the minutes in.
So besides the electronic copies, we've also got bound physical copies?
That's by law, we need to do that.
Okay,
Want me
okay.
to show them?
No, you keep them in books, you don't reuse them?
Oh, no.
Are they bound, or
They're
are they?
in the fire safe case, right behind you.
No, but I mean, the paper you'd have to keep. But have the book, or is it a book?
It is a
bound?
book.
Oh, okay.
It's a bound book.
Gotcha, all right.
Okay. Cedarville Engineering, we've got the French Creek Bridge arch repair, Buttonwood Lane Bridge, and the road classification program. Are we complete on the design part for the French Creek Road Bridge arch repair? Are we close to being a bid out?
I believe so. I'm going to let Mike fill you in on that.
Yes, we're close, we just have to pick the type of replacement.
Okay.
And on Buttonwood, there needs to be some core taking out of the bridge to find out how much work has to be done to bring it up to the standard we want for weight limits. But we have to, that's the next step, is to do the core samples.
Okay, you actually kind of got ahead of me there, but is there some reason why Buttonwood Bridge wasn't mentioned at all in the road evaluation report?
It's because we have no idea what it means. We just know it needs work. And it's
Oh.
probably very costly.
And it also looks like it's going to be a big number?
The biggest number.
We've got three of them here: Pemberton Fire Company, Ludwig's Fire Company, Ridge Fire Company. They say contributions. Are they operating contributions, or are they healthcare contributions, or something else?
Now, I believe these are operating contributions. Every year we send out 2 checks to these fire companies, not just this one, but later on there's the workman's comp reimbursement.
So fireman's relief.
Fire, okay. That comes out later, but this has been something I don't have a good grasp on, but it's something that's about that same number every year.
Okay.
And it's split up between 3 departments.
Okay, I understand that part. The question that comes up is I'm going to say Pemberton and Ridge is an even number, while the Ludwig's comes out to $293.65. Is there some reason why the Ludwig's one is weird?
Danielle probably, Danielle's the one that splits it, and there's numbers that she does it through a percentage.
So, okay, it's on a percentage basis. And the last one is going to be United States Treasury. How do we end up owing a treasury for Obama?
I didn't see that one. Hold on, Brian, good question.
That's,
What is it?
it's not taxes, it's tax on the healthcare.
Healthcare tax.
It's
It's a new Obamacare law.
It's withholding, right? Withholding.
I haven't heard of that.
It's a new tax that employer must pay on the tax that you provide your employees healthcare. It's like 17 cents a person.
Okay.
So healthcare is no longer a non-tax item, it's become a tax item.
Correct.
Okay, thank you, that's it.
Any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Next, I just want to indicate that we received 2 correspondences. One, thank you letter from the French and Pickering Conservation Trust for the donation to the French and Creek Iron Tour. And a copy of a letter sent to the Daily Local News from Peggy Glasser regarding response to her and her husband from the police department. It's a very glowing letter and states health reasons in there, so I'll just won't go any further than that. It's a nice letter. Next we have Eagle Farms Toll Brothers Surety Bond Release number 10. It's the final release. Mike, you
I
want to
move
explain this
the
one?
bond 088780004 for Toll Brothers Public Improvements and Ewing Track Phase 1/2A be released as full recommendation by the Township Engineer in his June 30th letter.
Can I have a second that? Just give me one moment, I just want to check something. Did you read this letter from Cedar County? It's just a little confusing for me. It states that the amount recommended to be reduced from the bond of Toll Brothers is, and then it gives the amounts.
There's 3 letters in your package. Should be the one that's phase 1/2A.
Yeah, why is it going 1,454,000 to 1,320,000? Why is that both numbers in there, running together also? You see that, Tim? In their letter.
The first letter.
Yeah, the first letter.
It's,
Yes, I
1.4
do.
is the right amount.
Yes, I do.
What's the 1.3? I'm not seeing 1.3.
On the very back page, there's a 1/3
1.304, total escrow.
for the total escrow.
Yeah.
You released the total escrow at your last meeting. You released this. This is just a confirmation of your final. This was zeroed out at your last meeting.
1.3. 1.3 released? Is that what you're saying?
where do you want?
Total escrow. Your first letter?
Yes. Not there.
Right there.
1/3, yeah, you released all of that at your last, you see the total remaining escrow is $0. You released that at your last meeting.
So then what's this?
Toll Brothers needs a final release of their bond. This is a formality. They just want their bond back.
I get that, but the typo that I'm assuming it's a
I see,
typo.
yeah, I see your numbers.
So we need to correct that if we're going to. Or maybe not.
How should that read? I mean, there should be something separating the two amounts. What's the difference there? 188.
I don't know where that second number comes from.
The one on the front page.
Say that again?
The one in the letter or the one in the back?
The one on the front page of the letter.
The letter has two
You
numbers.
see the certificate of release on the next page? That has the same number.
Yeah, that has the 145. And then on the detail page at the end, total escrow is 1.3. So where's the difference and what is the difference? Let's see what the difference is. Maybe it's here. 10% retained, 116.
There's not even any retainage anymore.
What's that?
I don't even see any retainage.
Well, it's listed here, but you're right.
It's 0.
All right.
This is what I'm talking
That number.
about. Where is that number?
On the sheet.
So I need you to remove your motion.
Yeah.
I'd like to remove the motion for the bond 0887800 toll roads.
Okay, and I'll second that. All those in favor? Aye.
So you rescinded the motion?
Yes.
Yeah, we rescinded it. What we're seeing is, on a letter from Cedarville, there's a correct number of $1 million, it's a bond of $1.4 million, but then after that, there's a dot, and then $151,320 that makes no sense, and we can't find it. It's a typo of some sort.
Thank you.
So what happens here?
We're tabling it until
Brian
the August
to
meeting.
correct his letter. I'll ask Brian for clarification.
And
We're not going to
We're
take
going
any
in
action until the next board meeting.
would that be a problem with toll, not releasing?
Toll Brothers.
I mean, are we in any kind of timeline
We actually
after it's been requested? Is there a timeline when we have to release it?
If there's a problem, we'll talk to General.
If there's a problem, we'll get,
We can take care of it on an
If
emergency
it were
basis.
really important to them, their lawyer would be here.
Say that again? I'm gonna,
I'm behind you, sir.
It's okay. I'll be next.
When you approved this, does that mean the engineer approved everything they've done back there so
Yes.
far?
just the one section.
Well, we were just back there, and there's a whole row of trees planted directly under the electric lines.
Good plan.
that may be, but
I mean, is that okay?
it apparently is to our engineer, but I'll ask him anyway.
Thank you.
But give me more information after the meeting where you said.
Okay.
Jim?
I reviewed the saldo. The saldo is silent to where you plant trees relative to electric lines. They already touched their electric lines. They were put in 6 months ago. They'll be cut down soon.
Sarah?
I lost it. Never mind.
Brian?
Trees and electric lines. If you look on Route 100 as you go up Black Horse Hill, you'll find that the developer there put them right underneath the electric lines again. And I called up Pico about it, asking about it, do you guys really want this done? And the answer is, we don't control it. And it may come down to how the plans were put in. And when they went through the planning commission never went and thought about that perspective of putting trees right underneath the power line is really a dumb idea in the long run.
It may be, and that may be the source, but it might be something else too. Sarah, did you?
I'm doubtful that that's the source, but I don't believe we ever get an existing condition plan overlaid with the landscaping plan, so it would be very hard to judge if it
And
came
they're
before
probably
us.
more
But
concerned about other things at that
Yeah.
time, but that's a good point, Brian. Any other comments? Okay, so we're going to move on. We're going to table that. We'll make sure it makes the, and you'll take care of Brian Kay, have him adjust that letter. Okay. Now we're back on the old business, the budget.
No,
no,
there's
no,
other,
we have
there's other
another-
reductions in your packet.
Eagle Farms.
you didn't
See,
do
that's what
manure.
threw me off. There's only one number.
No, there's another letter. There you go. No. Where's yours? Oh, he's missing it.
Did you lose your little tab? See the yellow tab? There you go. That's-
Okay. There you go.
So,
Okay.
do you want to read that?
I move that bond number 11-03203 for Carriage Homes North be released in the total amount of $188,818.88, and bond number 11-03204 for the release in the total amount of $330,263.92, as recommended by Township Engineering as June 30th day.
Okay, well, those numbers in that letter make sense. I'll second it. Any comments from the audience? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Now we can move on to Buttonwood Bridge thing.
Okay.
You want to explain this before I read it?
Yes, this has to do with Buttonwood Bridge, and the next phase of testing is to pour sampling of the bridge to find out how much damage is in it, how much rust in the beams, so we can determine how much work has to be done to bring it up to standard. That's the next phase of testing, to do the core samples.
This will also determine the current weight limits on it?
No, we already did that.
We did?
Yeah, well, that's not in here.
Well,
The current limits have been dropped, right? Can I say that?
Yes, of course, they're gonna.
Too late now.
Yeah. But we don't have the numbers here, I don't know if I remember correctly. I think it was 10 and 20, and I think it was dropped down to 7, 3, and 13. Does that sound right? 7?
I don't know whether 13, but
I
yeah.
thought it was both. 7 and 13, and it used to be 10 and 20.
Mike, are you aware of how the weight limits affect fire departments?
I actually had this conversation with Mark this morning, and with the lower weights, fire trucks will not be able to get across it.
Yeah, but the fire trucks shouldn't be crossing it now, and they have been. And I asked Mark to talk to the fire company and ask them if they would stop before the bridge and drive a vehicle up just to make sure it wasn't an alarm and it's a real fire before they actually move across.
Okay.
Because there's no reason to go across with that heavy load and chance the bridge going,
Right.
and then the cost of a fire truck.
Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Can you interface with all three fire companies that might respond?
Did Mark already do that?
Absolutely. I think Mark's already talked
Okay.
to Rich and Ludwig, so.
Yeah, thank you. Sarah?
There's already been a devastating house fire at the very end of that road. And imagine 5 minutes of going up and verifying what somebody has already called into 911.
Imagine pulling out a pumper truck out of the creek.
Yeah, well, but so why put in a bridge that cannot support emergency vehicles?
We're not going to put a bridge in that doesn't support it. That's the
We'll
whole
propose
reason for
that.
testing,
Well,
doing
if
the
you're
core
saying
testing.
13.
And that's what it is, and that's what it's been downgraded to. It's been
Because of
downgraded.
the state.
Because of the state that it's in right
Okay,
now.
so that was my earlier
Okay.
question, which this conversation sort of overcame, but I was going to say, why was it dropped? But what you mean, it was downgraded because of the state it's in, and so you're proposing to put it back up to 10 and 20?
Well, I think higher than that.
And you're suggesting this as an intermediate solution of don't
Oh,
cross the
absolutely,
bridge
yes,
until...
until it's correct.
Because
Oh,
I thought
absolutely,
you were,
yes.
when you said downgraded, I thought you were doing the downgrading
No.
to...
The engineering recommended that we downgrade it.
Okay. That makes more sense, because, you know, if I called and said, knock on wood, my house is on fire, I wouldn't hate to have you drive up to say, oh yeah, it really is, and then drive back down.
It's just an unsafe bridge, and this was the first step in finding out where it is now, so we can determine what needs to be done to make it acceptable. And I think we're all in agreement, although that needs to be decided. I can't imagine going out of the way. But the new bridge or repairs will make it so it will be fire truck accessible.
And what weight would that need to be?
Say that again?
What weight would that need to be?
I don't know,
I'm not sure either.
but that's why we have engineers. Brian?
A while back, we paid a bill for a structural analysis of the Buttonwood Bridge. Is that the analysis that downgraded it down to this lower value?
Yes.
Okay, and I assume somebody asked that it wanted to verify that they were going to try to bring something across it, and that's how we found this?
No, this has been going on for many, many years. Carroll Engineering recommended that we have it analyzed every year, and we haven't been doing that, spending the money to have the engineers check it every year. That was their recommendation.
Okay, and we're uncertain on the condition of the reinforcing steel, probably whether it's got in it and things like that.
Well, they have to determine how to reinforce this bridge, or if it has to be completely replaced. But they're going to do the core samples to see how much buildup or a bridge over top of it, maybe. They're just trying to figure out how to do it. But they have to get the actual.
I understand, the core samples are basically finding out what you've got there.
Correct.
Because we don't have any good drawings.
Well, we have drawings, but we don't know the extent of rust.
It's the condition.
This is the condition we need to find out.
They're trying
You also
to establish
don't know
exactly what it
whether-
is.
You don't know whether the reinforcement that was put in there is actually even there and the places where it's supposed to be by the drawings.
You mean the reinforcement that was done years ago? The
reinforcement in the original design, maybe the reinforcement when it was done years ago, or what was done then too.
Well, the original design was fine, but it's, you know, it's falling apart.
And
So now
the
that's,
core, what they're going to do is test them to find out the exact conditions of it now, so they can determine what's the best way of improving, replacing, or whatever.
I understand that part, but the thing is, reinforcing steel is not necessarily where the drawings say it's supposed to be. I have personal experience with that.
They still have to make an effort to determine this.
I understand, you're doing core bores to find out exactly what we've got there, and from there we can make some decisions on improvement. And I take it we did at least a first look at it when we did the road inspection.
Say that again?
We did a first look at Buttonwood Bridge, even though we didn't include those results in the road evaluation report.
I think you
and
said it's
Carroll
been
Engineer
ongoing.
has looked at this bridge. 2000, last time was 2013 or 2012? 13? And I think one other time before that, 5 years prior to that.
I think 10.
10? 10 years, okay.
2010.
It's been looked at many times over the years because it has been, you know, going down, down, down.
Well, what we're, the Board of Supervisors have not discussed this specifically, but my gut feeling tells me that all three of us will put this right at the top, and it's a safety hazard for many different reasons, and we're going to put this as fast as we can and fund it as properly as we can to do it right.
I understand, it makes complete sense, John. The thing I said earlier on, I said is, the draft road report doesn't say anything about Buttonwood Bridge.
Doesn't.
We've got Cedarville asking, we need to do core bores. I assume that when they did the road survey, they at least looked at the bridge, looked at it and says, and did some type of work, and maybe this initial structure.
I think they
work,
said,
and
OS,
says, okay,
we've got a problem.
Really there.
They looked at it, Brian, and they realized we had a problem, and now we're to the point of trying to assess how bad the problem is so we can put it in.
Got it, okay.
But their road report does not mention Buttonwood Bridge?
I looked for it in there, it's not in there.
I think it's in mine, but
Yeah,
anyway,
that's a double
but
blow.
we
I
talked
can't
about
mention
it, but it doesn't matter whether it's in there or not. I just told you what we're gonna do about it.
Yeah, I searched on Button in the draft report that's published on the website, which also is missing all the attachments that are shown in the report. But in the type, what's on the website right now, if you search on Button, which is a good search term for Buttonwood, it doesn't come up.
All right, I'll check. I'll
And
check
I
tonight.
don't remember seeing it either.
Jim?
Just a recommendation or a comment. It seems to me like there could be several types of vehicles over 7,000.
No, there is.
Like garbage, like this or that. Maybe instead of just an informal, let's talk to the fire departments, maybe it should be something more formal from this to our
Well, actually,
areas.
we are going to update the signs.
That's why they need to post weight limit signs that have to be approved by somebody, don't they?
It just seems like this is, even though you're going to go fast, I get it, it's going to take a while.
It's going to be done.
We're going to have a hazard problem for a while.
Correct.
It's going to be done, but we don't know what to post yet.
Yeah.
We don't know, and the fire companies have been made aware of it. They've been dealing with this for years. And not only that, Sewage disposal, septic tank companies, they're the ones that usually have to drive over more frequently. And they're the ones that get, what do they call it? They need special permission and a special certificate to cross it.
Yeah, my comment was one of legal notifications. It sounds like we have a real identified hazard.
Yes, and that will be posted.
Sarah?
So when you said it was 10 and 20 and you think maybe it would go higher, it's because you think some of these vehicles might need a higher capacity than that? And
Well,
what's
it's
the
gonna be-
difference
it's-
between the first number and the second? 10 and 20?
Span of the winds.
What is it?
Isn't it the span of the
Span, yeah, something, I don't know.
So is the limit 10 if you're a long vehicle and your front wheels are off before your back wheels get there, and then 20? I don't
I don't know, maybe somebody else can answer that, I can't.
Ask an engineer.
Combination. The higher weight's the combination.
Yeah, it is.
It's a combination truck.
Because they're longer and they don't have all the weight
More
all
weight.
at once.
Right.
Thank you.
Any other comments? You want to make your motion then?
All right, do that yet?
No.
I move that the board authorize Cedarville Engineering Group to move forward with additional testing to determine the scope and extent of the Lane Bridge for long-term repair.
I second the motion. Any comments? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
By way of an announcement, I have to announce the cancellation of the July 18th, 2016 Board of Supervisors meetings. There'll be 2 supervisors on vacation that week, so Mike didn't want to be left alone up here.
Oh, I did. You guys want that?
Would have been the township going amok. Okay.
Would have been a quick meeting, John.
Next, we have quotes for a new heat pump. We have four bids. Mike, have you had a chance to review these?
Yes.
Okay.
Should I make the motion?
Yes.
I move the township purchase the heat pump system from Service Mark in the total amount of $9,583 as in the proposal dated June 28th, recommended by the township zoning officer Brian.
Second. Tammy Service, Mark, that is the company currently?
No, we do not currently use.
No, the one that repaired it was
What's that?
Summers.
So we're not showing any favoritism?
Well, the price didn't work out. Same model heat pump. Service Mark is at $9,500 and Summers and Sims is, they're gonna give us the $135 back. We bought it.
At the top of page 2.
Yeah,
That was $10,687, so it's $1,100 more.
just for the audience sake, there's 4 bids in here. One is Service Mark at $9,583 with carrier equipment. Summers and Zinn, I abbreviated it. They have a $10,687 for the same carrier equipment. And Service Experts was $10,800 with Lennox equipment. And then Mead came in at $11,106 for training equipment.
Well, Mead, I think, had multiple choices, right? Yeah, 11,001 for their 5-ton 2-stage train.
They have a lot of extras on
Yeah, they have extra ones.
Anyway, I read all 3 and then I honed in on Mead and our Service Mark, and they're getting rid of everything. And if the pad outside needs work or vibration pads or whatever they call them, they'll take care of everything and all the electrical. So I'm okay with that. Any questions from the audience? Brian?
One thing I noticed when I read this, and this is kind of a repeat of what I was saying about the computer, but have we looked at all the various equipment that the township has, like I thought heat pumps, generators, Griffith House heating systems, well pumps, sewage plant equipment, where these things are in their lifespan to know when replacements will likely be coming up, and not necessarily right now, but probably maybe for with budgeting season, that would be a good thing to, maybe have Cedarville again, do that inventory and see where it is.
We're gonna give that to Erica.
Yeah, you're talking about an inventory of all equipment, be it hand tools, trucks, police cars, whatever. And yes, we do need, I think, moving forward, it'll be a process that'll be started late or sometime this year to inventory all equipment.
All township assets, actually.
Well, inventory is a start, but then where it is in its life cycle.
Well, when we get the inventory model number a year, we'll
That
be able
knows
to-
about this, it's nothing to say nasty about Erica, but it may take some technical smarts, and I'm not sure that even I have.
That was modest, wasn't it?
Hold on, could you say that again for the
I want that done for the record.
all of that should be covered, but when we get to that point, Erica, what we're trying to do is inventory everything so it makes sense and we can plan. And so when we can look at, geez, we just replaced that 5-ton air compressor 4 years ago, stuff like that. So yes, well,
Well, it's gonna help with budgeting.
And that's my thought is it helps you with budgeting. And John has been talking about that for a good bit of time now. And it probably, everything that we've got out there probably is more than we think it is.
Yes, we're finding that out with bridges.
okay. So any other comments? Then we have a motion for to select service mark in the amount of $9,583. All those in favor? Aye.
Thank you. For those of us who've been in a hot meeting room sometimes, thank you.
It's actually not that bad.
It's not, is it working today?
And last but
It's
not
just
least, we
coming
have
from-
the public comment on non-agenda items. Yes, Harry?
Are you surprised?
No, of course I am.
I would like to start out by asking Tammy to explain about this lovely parks program that she's been working on, and Sarah and I are wearing our t-shirts because we signed up. Could you please tell people what they ought to do?
The township is involved in a competition for its park. It's through the Boston Health and Wellness Center. And if you go and take a selfie or photograph of yourself, you can email it to oneyourpark@gmail.com or email it to me and I'll get it to them. They're asking if you take selfies and put it on their Facebook page. That's what they really want you to do. I also have tickets that you can sign up for. There are 12 parks involved. Harriet's showing you what the tickets look like. Each one of them have a
Dana,
name
we're
of
going
a
to
park.
cover it, Dana.
Yes, she's good at it. Each one have a name of a park. You can place it in their park. Their park gets a vote. If you place it in their park, we vote. And so do we. So the more votes we get, the more chances that we could get up to $5,000 in grant.
Hold on, Art, you going to do this tonight? You're going to go out and take a selfie? Just checking to see if you're...
It's a little confusing, and that's part of my problem with the whole concept, but 25-year-olds are running the show, so.
The selfies are hard to actually post.
They are hard to
But you
post,
can
yes.
get there. But on those tickets, what I'd like to recommend, if you're not going to go to the parks, if you could give us your tickets, and we, Parks and Recs, will make sure we hit all of the parks and do all of the voting. So, it's gonna happen in Parks and Recs tomorrow night, but if you can give Tammy the extra tickets that you're not gonna get to, because you have to be in you have to vote at least twice.
Yes.
So we'll make sure that our votes all count as long as.
Whatever park you don't know where it's at, if you can't get to it, bring it to us and we'll vote for you.
Was in there.
Vote early, vote often.
Even though it's really against the whole thing of Mission Healthy Living,
Don't put that
walk
in
somewhere
the-
else. And
Don't put that in the minutes.
it's not going in this.
Sharon and John have been hoarding all the tickets.
If you have any questions,
Just trying to figure out what on
see me.
earth to do with them.
Now
When
you
you go
know.
up
Now
to
you know.
have there, we have a little box up by the
I'm
gazebo,
gonna give them to Tammy.
and it says Evans Park, and you put them in there. And they get the rest of
Yeah,
them.
and you can also, for each picture, you get the same amount of vote as a voting ticket.
So you can also go up and take a lot of different selfies, which is what I did today. So I have the whole week covered. So each day I can just post a different picture.
But I hope you put them on a different shirt, because they
I
told me
made
they're
sure you
looking.
couldn't see my
They
shirt.
told me they're gonna be looking for sting outfits, because you're not the first
I went
person
to
to think
different
of that.
places and I realized that you
So we're
couldn't
gonna
see my
change
shirt.
it to clothing.
You know, stack your different shirts, that's right.
Okay.
I don't know if we should be promoting this cheating thing.
I know, I'm sorry.
Mike assures me that I can visit you every other Tuesday and Thursday when they come take you away.
That's right, we're not gonna, shh, we're in public.
Any other comments on it? Yes.
It's not about the Bud Light beer cans, because a lot of people have been posting about them, so it's not just me. You're walking around or driving around the or the township, there seems to be a lot of folks who do not have those nice green house number signs on their property. And I'm always surprised, because in the event of a fire or an emergency, I always think the police aren't gonna be able to find them. So I don't know if maybe when the township newsletter comes out, or maybe whatever, we should encourage, if you agree?
Oh, I agree.
What was that program? That was instituted by
Through the
the
fire
fire
department.
We did this a few years ago.
And what was it?
The fire department would help get people their number signed at a reduced cost. I
I
mean,
think you
And
can
they
still
put
get
it
it.
in.
I think you can still get it
through
through the fire
Lovelace.
department, through
I believe you
Lovelace.
can.
Can you talk to them and then post it on the website? That would be great. Good,
Good idea.
good idea.
Okay, and the beer cans are still appearing.
Well, she told you she took a lot of selfies. They were all with Bud Light beer cans. All right.
Again, the Iron and Steel tour that the county is doing this year is going to be, we're going to be cooperating with West Pikeland on July 14th. Their tour is going to last from 3 until 7. And they're going to be trolleys that you get on. You have to have a ticket to get on the trolley at a certain time. And you can see me after the meeting, and I can show you the website so that you can get your tickets ordered if you haven't done it already. But it should be a lot of fun. It should be interesting. It's going through part of West Pikeland, coming through us, talking about the iron and steel development. And I have another one. I understand that Pulte now has a building permit. This is just a public announcement, to do work on the Bruners Zerizniak property, the lovely farmscape on Birch Run Road, just before you get to Route 100. About 5 different buildings that are looking more and more ragged. So it looks as if Pulte has decided to not do demolition by neglect. So we need to keep an eye on it, but it looks like they are actually trying to, well, at least they've applied for a building permit. So we need to keep an eye on and see what's happening.
Sarah.
I have my list. Any news on the sewage plant sale?
Say that again?
Any news on the sewage plant? Mike's saying no for you. Sewage plant sale. Any update from Rick Trailey's at NLT about his review of our zoning ordinance? No. Take that as a no.
No.
Fellowship Trail update?
Got nothing for you, but I'll follow up on it. I haven't done anything on Fellowship.
We'd appreciate it.
Are you giving any thought to hiring a roadmaster?
You know, we have to discuss that. I have my own thoughts, and I would love to hire a roadmaster. We just haven't had a discussion between the supervisors to that.
More manager.
Part of the problem we have at this point is without Eric on board, a lot of things we're trying to keep
Well,
it
you
going.
guys are pinch hitting, but you're also putting a huge to-do list on Erica's
Right.
desk. I
She's
bet.
young.
Yes, she is, but let's not
She
wear her
used to
out.
be anyway.
Yep.
She's up to the challenge, I can assure you. She's going to fall asleep in this township. She's used to working a lot faster.
Because you've got that reformatting of the budget is on her to-do list too, right? And,
But I'll follow up on the Fellowship Trail tomorrow. I'll give you a call.
thank you. And the hookup of the Aqua America water for the community garden? Because you've taken any action on that?
First off, I have personal views on that, but it's never been proposed to this board, so we can't take action. I won't take any action on it until it's proposed, unless one of these gentlemen bring it up.
I believe it's in your budget from last
I
year.
don't care
which
whether it's in the
doesn't
budget, that doesn't mean it was approved.
Doesn't it mean that you guys talked about it, and it's not like it's brand new to you, that you've
Well,
never heard about it?
it's not brand new, but it has to be brought
This is
to
what
the
it
board.
means. It means that somebody sat in the manager's office and put a number down, okay? That doesn't mean it was discussed with any supervisor, let alone all three of them at the same time.
Yeah.
So, and I can assure you, it was not discussed with this supervisor.
Okay.
So, and if you want my opinion, I don't want to say I'm against something that I haven't vetted and heard. So that's why I'm not saying I'm against it, but it just doesn't make any sense to me. When the community garden was proposed, it was proposed as a $10,000–15,000. Now it's over $35,000, and with that, it's going to go another $7,000 or $10,000. I'm sorry.
And there were the numbers that it will pay back just in water costs, $7,000 a year. So it's probably going to last more than 7 years. So
We don't know that, it's only at 22 lots, I mean,
Again,
plots.
it has not been proposed
I
to the
guess-
supervisors, and that's where arguments like that and details can surface.
And I guess we could ask Aqua America how long their hookups last, but I'm suggesting, Mike, that it probably lasts longer than 7 years.
Yeah, but we don't know the garden's gonna last more than 3 years.
But there was a second use for it, remember, with the Public Works Department having a potable source of potable water. That's not just about the garden, this is about the community. So I don't know that it has to come to you from Parks and Rec. If what you're
Well, it can
talking
come from
about is
anywhere.
having a potable, well, I'm bringing it to you now. What about having a potable source of water hookup on Westover near the community garden that would be available to any resident when the power is out and they need water and they can't get it out of their well or whatever? And if there's incidental use by the community garden, it helps pay the bills faster. And there was the possibility to sell off the big tank, which cost us maybe $3,000, and at the time it was put in, we were able to...
$2,200.
$2,200. We were going to be able to get at least 50% of it back. So now we're down to, it pays itself back in less than 7
Maybe
years.
you would get, but I doubt you would get 50% off of it, but you could, won't debate that. But let me ask you, how is this going to make money? How is it going to, who's going to pay? You're saying it's going to pay for itself, how?
Are you suggesting you don't support the
No,
continuation
you said
of
it was
the
going to
community
pay
garden?
the township back of the $10,000 or $7,500, whatever the number is. How is it going to pay it back? Who's going to write the check? Are we going to mirror it?
Right, this last year, you guys, up at the front table, wrote $1,200 worth of checks for the fill-ups provided by Leonard's Corner Fire Department. Using the numbers that Aqua America says would be residential rate for the hookup, the same amount of water would cost approximately $200 check from the township to Aqua America. Now you're writing $1,200 to
But
the
you're
fire
missing one thing,
department.
you're missing an important part. At the same time you're asking for public water, you're also complaining about people leaving the water running.
I
Now,
didn't mention that today at all, and...
not today, but
and-
it's been mentioned many times,
and-
and that
and
may
the
be a
last
cause
time
of why we're using so much water.
And the last time I mentioned it, I called it vandalism. So, but
Could
let
be.
me, but this is
But it
not...
could be vandalism with
but
a meter
Mike,
running.
That's this year. Last year's numbers are what we're talking about. You're talking about something that happened in the last couple of months and was not ever reported
No, I thought
last
it
year.
was last year, actually.
No, it was this year.
Last year.
I think it was last year.
It's
I think
this
this was
year as
brought up
well.
before, that people were complaining last year about the water usage going and the water spilling
So-
out and left on.
So we pay at 6 times the rate for the water being left on instead of, we pay $1,200 for it left.
Doesn't
Let's
this discussion
solve
belong
the
in
problem with
Parks
the
and
water
Rec?
running. That'd be the first thing to stop. And then we'll save money that way.
Let Brian speak.
I've heard this number thrown out, okay, it's going to be a lot less money because it's a residential rate. Does anyone know, I mean authoritatively know, have they asked Aqua America
Yes.
what the rate is for for that type of facility.
You were at the Parks and Rec meeting when Bill said he had made the call. He talked to
No,
Tim.
I went to the
He
Park
used
and
his
Rec
own
meeting
bill.
where
He
he
didn't
said,
take the call.
I looked at
When
my water bill, it cost so much per gallon, so it would only be that amount.
Yes,
He never said, I went and talked to Aqua America and found out that for this type of service, the rate would be this amount of money. One thing.
He said
Second
he
thing.
called them.
Second thing, we're talking about, okay, it's an emergency water source for people when we're missing power, et cetera. Okay, y'all want to go and do that in the wintertime in a snowstorm. Think about trying to get in and out of that driveway, which is a steep uphill, one vehicle wide, and now we need circulation. Next, you need some type of facility with hydrants, with water outlets, with drainage points that you can go and the water doesn't generate some big type of ice thing. Putting in this is public water available is not necessarily quite as simple as you might think. And if you go right up Westover Lane, there's a fire hydrant there. And people do make facilities where you can hook up to a fire hydrant and put out the drains, etc. And since it's a road, it circulates easily.
Good idea, Brian.
But there's a lot of additional costs. If you want to go and say, I want to go and have this for emergency water, you've got to have some type of hookup that you're going to put there that's going to provide water, provide drainage, etc.
Maria.
With all due respect, this has been discussed in Parks and Recs, and it's still in Parks and Recs. It doesn't belong in the debate tonight. Second of all, we've also are considering using hand pumps, using groundwater well to provide water for the garden. So it's far from being discussed. It is not up for the supervisors at this point in time.
Sarah, that's my point. It hasn't
Still
come to the
committee.
Parks and
How many
Recs
times
committee,
is that?
who's in charge of that garden, which would be the primary user, okay? And that's why I've said now, twice now, that there's no motion, there's nothing before us from that group. Does that make sense?
Okay, I'm just bringing it from Township. I'm a Township resident. I'm bringing that question. So I understand where you stand on it.
Any other comments? None? Art?
On Monday, July 4th, they had a parade in Bertrandville.
No.
Now, great, I'm all for parades and this type of thing. But number one, I don't believe that they got a permit for it, which as far as I'm concerned is extraneous anyway. But the thing that is not extraneous is when you have a group or try this type of thing, the police chief should be notified so that for the public safety, he can have men in place in case something would happen. It's done for the turkey trot, it's done for the reptilian crossing, it's done for the turkey trot.
Mike,
Was
were
there
you
an
notified?
illegal
I was not
parade?
notified, no.
There was an
Who
illegal
handles that?
parade. Under your very watch.
We never, we didn't receive any calls on it.
Who was the, who does this parade?
Who organizes it?
There's no,
It's a non-parade.
It's a
Oh, it's a
non-parade, it was
non-parade.
just a wonderful little community thing. It was a wonderful, wonderful opportunity to get together with some neighbors.
Did you witness it?
No, I didn't.
Oh, then it's supposedly a parade.
You block the road, that's more than supposed. I'm just saying that Mike should be brought in at the head of this, whether he consults the supervisors, whether they want to go to the permit stage on this thing or not.
I understand there's two things, and I've only attended 2 parades in the past when it was getting slightly out of hand. Let me, from my perspective, I'm not speaking to the other 2. Mike, will you put that on your calendar, just to be aware of it for safety reasons, if there should be another illegal, unpermitted parade down in Bertrandville?
We really should talk about then setting up something to talk about permits and putting safeguards in place and road closures and things like that.
I'd like to introduce you to Erica Batdorf, our township manager.
We met earlier tonight.
Yeah,
So,
I just put it on my calendar.
Let me just comment on this.
Yeah.
I think I don't know the whole why it was canceled, but I thought it was a wonderful thing before. It was very unique. Maybe it did get out of hand a little bit, but it wasn't that bad to my way of thinking. But it was a little part of our town that's now hidden a little bit. Yes.
Are you looking at me? Yeah. Well, I mean, and Tammy, please don't stick all this in the minutes, because the idea is, when this thing gets too public, that's what ruined it. When people were posting it online and coming from all over the place, it's kind of neat. It's like a nice community stealth parade, and if we have to have it at 8 o'clock in the morning to keep the attendance, I mean, it's just a lovely thing, and don't, when you start,
Yeah, but you closed the road, correct?
What?
Did you close the road?
I don't know. I didn't close the road. Cars came through. No, were you there? I mean, it was
No.
neat, but if it gets truly publicized, it'll turn into that
Well, no one's saying to
chaos.
publicize it.
What?
No one's saying that.
She's worried about even talking about it.
Yeah, we're talking about.
It's a whole year away. Everybody's going to forget about it.
No, we can hope.
Mike, will you, when Erica comes on board, this is the discussion for management, okay?
Sure, absolutely.
Sorry.
It was 9 or 10 years ago that the
What?
parade was canceled.
It was.
Maybe 10 years ago. It was the last one. It was the big thing. And it was a health and safety thing. There were arrests made. There was not room for emergency vehicles to get through. And it did get put up on some handheld bulletin boards for a break time. Bring your keg of beer and your water barrels to Bertrandville. We had people from Shippensburg, Kutztown, lots of not quite neighboring colleges. So there was good reason that Mike had to shut it down. And in response to that, he held a number of sessions with the originator of the 1976 parade and a number of interested residents. And, well, I was there. I don't know anybody else in the room who was there, but Mike and I and a whole bunch of other people looked at the alternatives. Somebody contacted Weatherstone Homeowners Association, could we do it there? There were suggestions about where else could we do it. There was a lot of work done to say there was not a viable alternative except to shut it down. The 2 o'clock in the afternoon was not a good time.
Do we have enough space to impound all these garden tractors?
And the goats. Don't
And
forget the
the
2 goats.
And they go.
I made light of
And
it
the
only
kids, all
because
those kids.
I see all of that. Maria, did you have a comment?
I do have a comment on that. It is a lovely little parade, but I also think that when you have something that only a select few are in the know of, and much of our community is left out of, it doesn't breed for good community. And that's one of the fractures in our township that I wouldn't want to condone it. If we're going to do it, we should let the neighbors that live there know that it's occurring and let it be public. And if we had the proper police and safety, health and safety, we could maintain it at that level. But I think to say that we close our eyes to something that blocks off half the people that live here, that's really just a poor statement on our township.
Well, I'm sure that's your opinion.
It is my opinion.
Okay, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Suzanne?
Can I suggest that after Erica comes on board and before the next 4th of July,
If she still comes on board.
yeah, that a few people get together and discuss this with the chief, because as lovely as it would be to have the whole community come, which would be terrific, where would we do it? I mean, what happens now in downtown Bertrandville is it's just the local kids who do it, the local families. We try and keep them in one side of the road so emergency vehicles can get through if need be, et cetera, et cetera. So if there's a place to do it, it would be fabulous to have the whole community do it.
Thank you, Suzanne. Any other comments?
Or showgrounds.
Or showgrounds, the park right here.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yep.
Or showgrounds would certainly be available, but I don't know how you get everybody up there, and that would take the quaintness away from it. But anyway, I digress. Any other comments on non-agenda
There's
items?
still goats, it's still quaint.
There's plenty of time. Any other comments from non-agenda items? Yes, sir.
Hi, I got a copy of the draft road proposal report. And I noticed in there, Hilltop Road has got a line item of about $400,000 for a mile and a half, mile and a quarter, something going on in there. Could you give me a little more detail on what that is?
I can't, but we have scheduled a workshop for that on the
August 1st.
August 5th?
First.
That will be at least one meeting to go over those things and get not just dialogue between the three supervisors and our road foreman, but also residents such as yourself, so we can reprioritize, because we may miss, anyway, there will probably be more than one meeting on that, and somehow map it out over a 5 or a 10-year plan. So, August 1st.
And on another note, has there been any herbicide spraying along Hilltop Road?
Along where?
Hilltop Road.
I do not know. You mean from our road department?
Road department, PICO, anybody like that? I seem to have some unusual brown spots where the vegetation going 30 feet, laying around power supply, or telephone poles, power poles. It's totally browned out when everything else is green. It looks like the effect of an herbicide.
I don't know, but I'll check with, I don't think so, but I'll check with our road foreman. Stop by after the meeting, give me your name and number, and I'll call you tomorrow once I
Perfect,
find out.
thank you.
Yes, Sarah.
The meeting on the 1st, is it going to be at the regular meeting time? Will you be doing your business before
It'll
or
be-
after?
That's a good question.
It's a regular meeting.
It's a regular meeting that's,
You'll do your business first and then move to the workshop? Thank you. Just wanted to get my schedule
any
right.
other comments?
I do want to say, just about PICO, I got a letter in the mail that they're going to be coming through with heavy trimming, and they'll be doing some spraying. And last year, they came to my door and said they wanted to spray under the power lines on my property, so I asked them for the MSDS, and that triggered them to say, we will trim instead of spray. Because if anybody questioned what they were using, they had to call to the office and say, we got another place we have to cut.
I
got
also,
a trimming one, but I didn't see spraying in there.
you know, I got a treating one, but I didn't read it past the first couple lines. That's a good point.
So ask for MSDS information, and that may calm them down.
Scares them.
Any other comments? Seeing none, going once, going twice. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Second, all those in favor? Aye.